up, YouTube? It's your girl Keisha.
And your biggity boy, Viral Valley.
And this is KNV
Vision.
And tonight, we are going to be doing a bedtime story time.
Yeah.
So, what's the topic of tonight?
Neighbors from hell.
Oh my gosh. Hell, ratchet, ghetto, all of the above.
All of the above, balled up in one. Where do we begin?
Well,
it wasn't this house.
No.
It was our first apartment.
I'm glad it wasn't this house. Yeah, it was our very, very first apartment. After we had our first daughter, and it was kind of after I got pregnant with Kai, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we first moved in, we didn't have any neighbors. We were on the middle floor, and there was a guy below us, and then we didn't have anybody above us.
Nah.
Once we got pregnant with our son, then we got a neighbor above us.
Yeah.
And baby.
Talk about Shanae. This was Shano no.
Hell no.
For real.
Man, once we got that neighbor,
man,
things changed drastically.
The apartment was cool.
And that's part of the reason why we will never have an apartment again.
For real.
We will never do an apartment again.
No, not at all.
When we first got our apartment, it was cool. We liked it. It was a nice starter apartment. Our daughter had her own room. It was a 2-bedroom. So it was cool. We gave her the bigger room though.
Right.
Because, she just needed, I felt like she just needed more space.
And she had a lot of toys.
And she had a good play area and everything. So we gave her the bigger room and we took the smaller room.
Right.
And it was cool. When we first moved in, we thought that was the best apartment in the world.
For real. But when we seen the U-Haul pull up,
we didn't think nothing of it when the U-Haul pulled up.
It was cool. But real quick, things went left. You know what I'm saying?
Once they moved in, it wasn't too much of an issue at first. But it was like within that first week, things got real. Real fast.
Quick.
So, well, the very first week that they moved in, it was late and we was all about to go to bed. I think our daughter was already asleep.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, the very first thing we hear, moaning.
Yeah.
But it wasn't your average moaning.
I'm thinking he doing some damage. I'm thinking homie doing some damage to her, you know what I'm saying?
It was loud. Like she was screaming a bloody murder.
You would have thought she was in our apartment.
Oh my gosh, and we don't use names, but
nah. She
started screaming his name, but hey, when I tell you, this lasts all of 3 minutes.
probably three and a half at the most.
No, 3.5. You mean 2.5 to 3?
Hey, I'm talking about he was drilling. I mean,
it was so loud, like she was
so
screaming. Fast. I mean, she was screaming so loud and screaming his name. Then you heard him. But all this happened in literally, and I BS you not, like literally 2 to 3 minutes.
Then you hear footsteps. Then you hear either music blasting or the shower running. Man, they was done.
Wait, and then about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, you hear them arguing.
Yeah.
I mean loud.
Fighting hard.
We knew all their business.
Yeah.
And it sucked because their room was directly over our daughter's room.
Right.
So we would have to have our daughter like come and sleep in a room with us because we didn't want her hearing that. And like the first night it was funny, we laughed at it, we was cracking up. But then it started getting like ridiculous because this was like happening like every night at this point. And it was so irritating. If we didn't hear that, then we heard like her son like stomping and like her kids just running around screaming and like they were trying to like stomp through the floor.
For real.
And the thing about it is, I know kids are hyper, I know they like to play and everything, and that's fine. But we had a guy under us too, and we wasn't letting our daughter just run around and stomp and be disrespectful. Like, she can play, and it was fine for her to play, but she wasn't running all through the place and like stomping real hard, disturbing the man below us. Like, so it's the difference between a child playing and then a child just doing,
but she didn't
like
care
so much, and she didn't even care. She was just letting her kids just do the most. Like
I seen her, I said something to her, you know what I'm saying? I told her, I'm like, hey, you know, it's loud up there, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be polite, because you know, we gotta live there, and you know, I'm like, I'm trying to be cool. I'm like, hey, it's loud up there, man. Can y'all turn it down a little bit? Keep it down.
If you didn't hear the kids, you heard the TV.
I'm like, your son jumping on what he jumping off of? Like,
I mean, it didn't even sound like he was jumping. It sounded like he was just like like standing in one spot, just stumping nonstop, like back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, what the hell? Like, it was even affecting like our daughter going to sleep.
For real.
So, and then it's like once I, you know, gave birth to my son. Oh my gosh, it got like 10 times worse.
You wake up a newborn, we got a problem.
Oh my goodness, like, and then like we even gave her like our collection of like Disney movies and stuff. Not gave her, like we let her use it because she was like, you know, he's just playing and all this and this, and we was like, okay, well, that's fine.
We tried to give her
but she was like, well, I don't have anything for him to watch and him to just sit. So we was like, well, do you want to just like, you know, watch some of the movies we got?
Right.
And she was like, oh yeah, we like that. We like those movies. So that helped for that day. Like, that helped that day. I guess they was binge watching the movies, and it was quiet. And next thing you know,
boom.
Guess he got over those movies real quick, because they were like stomping,
backflipping,
and screaming, and just doing the most.
Yeah.
And it would like wake up our newborn. And so one day, I'll never forget. Her and was it her baby daddy?
Yeah.
Whoever, yeah. They got into it, and it was loud. And this is like maybe like 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I mean, you heard them fighting. You heard, I guess he must have hit her, because then she was screaming like he was killing her. Yeah. And it wasn't the other way that we was used to hearing.
Nah.
And like
we knew it was bad because the police got called.
Right. And then you heard it outside. You heard it inside. Like, they kept going like back and forth, like outside, inside, outside, inside. You just heard it like nonstop, like arguing and screaming and fighting. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it was to a point where I was like, is he trying to kill her? Because she is screaming.
Hey, but we wasn't about to find out.
He wasn't about to up there.
Hey, hell no.
And then you heard, then like she started crying. Then you hear him apologizing. Like, it was so clear. You would thought they were just sitting in our living room doing all of it.
It was like some Jody and Yvette
Oh my
shit.
gosh. But it was like times 10. Yeah. It was like times 10, because it was extremely loud and like annoying. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so over it.
Right.
And then one day I was taking my hair down. I had micro braids. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I was taking my hair down, and I just got Kai to sleep. I just got Kai to sleep. As soon as he went to sleep, we heard boom, boom, bam, boom, boom. And like it was like her kids would just start taking off and like I mean, oh man, you should have heard it. It sounded like they had a damn marching band up there.
For real.
And then Kai got up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like on fire. So Travell hit the ceiling like, come on, like, what the heck, you know?
And they hit it back.
Then they hit it back like hard with something.
That's when I was like, oh, okay.
So he went outside and like did the little buzzer thing, didn't he? And was like, can you please have your son sit down? Have your kids sit down. It's like, it's loud. And
she tried to pop off.
Yeah, she got smart, like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to just not let him move.
And I wanted to say, nah, I ain't gonna say all that.
And it wasn't so much that we were trying to stop him from playing, because of course he's, you know, they're kids.
Right.
But at the end of the day, have common courtesy, common respect. You know you're at the top. You know it's people below you. Mm-hmm. You do not have to let him run around and doing all this, like jumping, hyper, like damn.
Right.
And so, because we didn't let our daughter do that, you know? Nah. So, she started popping off, whatever. So, it's like soon as he came back in, they got louder on purpose.
Yeah.
And it was like crazy. So he went to open the door, but as he went to open the door, her and her mom was out, and they start popping off to him. Me being the person,
they ain't letting that go.
I don't like confrontation, but I will snap the out if I have to. And at that point, I lost it because I was already I was like at my wit's end. So when I heard them disrespecting him like that and talking to him like that, I was like, oh. So as soon as I heard that, I jumped up because I was in my room taking my hair down. I jumped up and went outside looking crazy as hell because my hair was halfway up and halfway down. And I just lost it. She was called everything in the book.
Basically, she shut her down.
I shut down her and her mama. And because I heard
they didn't want to see her.
Because it started because her mom started popping off to him, like talking real reckless. Yeah. So that's what triggered me because they both were like teaming him. And I'm like, I don't think so. So I jumped up and I snapped out. And all I heard, you don't talk to my mother like that. And I'm like, you and your mama.
Yeah. And see, the whole time, you know what I'm saying? Her dude he would see me outside every now and then. He was cool. He was cool. He was respectful. You know what I'm saying? He was cool, but he wasn't there at this time.
But you know, he was part of the problem too, though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. So, but he wasn't there when they was popping off.
Right? No, they weren't. Because I don't think he would even.
Nah, he probably would have wanted them to go back in.
Right. But then it was so bad. So we got into that. Crazy part about it is we didn't hear him no more for that day though. Nah. We didn't hear nothing. We didn't hear kids. We didn't hear anything like. It was still little things going, but not nothing drastic. Right. But then she had the audacity to say, well, we hear your baby cry.
That's what they
That's all you got. And I'm like, that's the baby. It's a big difference. The baby, you can't control a baby from crying, you know, but at the end of the day, you can control a toddler from, or a big kid from running and jumping and doing all the extra stuff in the most.
Or a teenage kid playing
exactly.
music.
So then, one day my mom had came over. My mom and her boyfriend had came over, and you know, we were chilling, whatever. So my mom, left, and then she came back. But when she came back, her mom was coming out to take the trash out. And her mom was mugging my mom.
Right.
And my mom looking like, you know, like
her mom cool. But she ain't going for that bullshit.
So then, my mom was like, do you have a problem? And the lady, I think the lady started like popping off to my mom. And my mom was like, first of all, I don't have nothing to do with none of that. Then my mom shut it down. At that point, my mom, she goes from 0 to 10 real quick. So she was ready to fight. But the girl's mom was like scared.
Threw her purse down.
Yeah, my mom was ready to go. Hey, she was ready to go.
You know what I'm saying? Her boyfriend was trying to calm her down. But hey, then you got Keisha going out there. Ain't no stopping.
Well, because her mom, after her mom got like scared, she hurried up and ran into the apartment when she seen my mom popping off. And I don't know if she thought maybe because she seen my mom coming out my apartment, so maybe she thought that my mom my mom was me. So I guess she was like trying to like pop off to my mom. Right. But she learned. And then y'all look alike. Yeah, she learned real quick, and so that was that. Like, but then next thing you know, like me and Terrell, we don't smoke at all. Nah. They would be like smoking, and you would smell it in our apartment. And I'm like, I don't want my kids smelling this. I don't want them inhaling this. Like, it was so much. And then one night, she had a party. So you heard nothing but stomping. Then you heard them on a patio, like just being loud and screaming. And it's my jam and extra loud. And it still smelled like strong marijuana. Like, it was strong. Yeah, loud. And they were like loud, and the music was turned up so loud. And I was just like so bothered. And my kids wasn't going to sleep because it was so loud.
We ain't no snitch shit. You know what I'm saying? No. We don't do that tattletale shit over here. So it was like, either we gonna handle it or we gonna let it go.
And somebody had called the police on them, so then they came to my door, and I'm like, that's not coming from my house.
Exactly.
You know, it was just like, it was so much, and I was so frustrated. Like, I was like, I cannot stand this. And so Another incident was, I guess she got into it with her brother. Cause that's how clear these arguments and conversations is. It's like they were sitting in our own apartment, like they were doing it like right in the next room. Like you heard her fighting and screaming and crying and yelling.
It wasn't even just with her brother. She had a whole physical fist fight with her friend out there.
With somebody.
Yeah, she had a fist fight with her homegirl. Got her ass tore out the frame.
It was screaming and arguing and fighting, and all the time. The apartments didn't want to do nothing about it. It was just so much.
Her boyfriend and her baby daddy fought.
Oh, yeah. You heard her sleeping with him.
Yeah.
Like you heard everything.
It went down. Like I'm talking about a gun was pulled out, but ain't nobody get the shooting. You know what I'm saying?
Arguing, fighting.
They was dragging it out. It was too much.
Stop. Like, oh my gosh, when we finally moved, we was just like, yes.
It was at peace. Man, her teenage son came to me, saw me outside in my car. He asked me for some Swishers. I'm like, man, how old is you? He was like 13. And he had like a pound of weed on him at the time. I'm like, bruh, come on, man. I'm like, nah, bro.
He didn't even want to tell you how old he was
at first. He didn't, but he told, I knew he was young, you know what I'm saying? Then I see him every other day or something. You know what I'm saying? Because I know he was skipping school. I would see him during school hours at home. Like, bro, what you doing? But, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no talking to some of these kids. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you just gotta pray for him. But little homie had a whole lot of weed and didn't have no Swishers. And asked me if I had some Swishers. I'm like, little bro, nah, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I don't smoke. But yeah, it was a lot. You know what I'm saying? And we done ran into her. You know what I'm saying? But after we moved, you know what I'm saying? I see her and I'm just like, wow, like, damn. But I mean, man, I was super glad when we moved out of that apartment. Not even the apartment. The apartment was cool. The apartment was cool. It was just I was glad to be away from that situation.
It was just like non-stop, always something.
Yeah.
Like, and then it was like, and not even just that. Remember that one time we were it was late.
Yeah.
It was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And we heard some girls run behind the building right under our patio.
Yeah.
Or our balcony or whatever. And they was screaming like and crying because they were drunk. So they was arguing.
Right.
And then some dudes came and they was all just back there arguing. It was always something.
It was from her apartment.
Oh my gosh. It was like always something. Like it was frustrating.
Her sons was asking for shit like crazy shit. Like, I mean,
people was coming like to the doors. They was asking for like asking, oh, y'all got some toilet paper.
Then he asked me could he use my phone. I'm like, bro, I was like, my phone dead. He's like, you ain't got a house phone? Hey, but he 13, but he had a deep voice and he talking to me like I better have he like, you ain't got no house phone? I'm like, nah, homie. I'm like, nah, little homie. He like, your cell phone really dead? I'm like, bruh. He was like, then you ain't got a charger. I want to slam the door and tell him, hey man, take your goofy ass to your mom and ask her. Hey, but I don't think he was supposed to be home at that time. You know what I'm saying? The boy was supposed to be in school.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was a lot. You know what I'm saying? It was a whole lot, man.
When nothing being done, like it was just so
terrible,
irritating. And then like the arguing was the fighting. It was more than arguing, it was fighting.
Then she would give us dirty looks every time we seen her. We looked back at her like, come on if you gonna come, you know what I'm saying? Like
we wasn't the problem. But remember like when they first moved in, before like it really got bad, like after the very first argument, remember you seen her and you even spoke and she just was like,
yeah, she mugged me. Now I don't know what the hell her dude did to her that day, but it was fuck all men that day, because she looked at me like I did it, you know what I'm saying?
Better than me, because I wouldn't have spoke.
It was morning. It was morning. I was just like, good morning.
Shit, if it was morning, I wouldn't have spoke.
Hey, I'm trying to be nice. It's my neighbor. It's my neighbor. I'm like, good morning. She mugged me. I'm like, oh, I take my morning back.
No, I don't speak to nobody. They don't speak to me. Nope. You know, cause like I think probably because, you know, a lot of the times where like I be trying to be like nice and speak and somebody don't speak back, I learned my lesson. Like, I'm not about to keep speaking to you. I don't think so. Right. So I don't even speak. Like, mainly if I don't know you, I'm not really gonna speak. It don't mean I'm friendly or shady. I just don't like, no. Because like, no, you speak, I was like, hello.
Right.
How are you?
Yeah.
But I'm not just gonna break my neck to, hey, hi. No.
Right.
We're not friends.
But yeah, man, I'm so glad we got out of that situation.
We moved as soon as we could because
yeah, we did.
That situation, like, that's why we wouldn't. I don't ever want to move back in another apartment. Hell
no.
Well, yeah, besides, man. I mean, we got a lot of kids anyway, so I really wouldn't move into no apartment. But still, this is besides the point.
We have a lot.
We only had 2 at that time. Well, 1 at first, and then, you know, our second one came. But it was a lot. Like, I was even embarrassed to have somebody over my house visiting.
Because our neighbors.
Because the neighbors, like, that's embarrassing. And then, you know, some people be like, oh, that's drama and we want to hear that. Right. But when you got to hear every night, and it was something new every single night, when I tell you, it was always something. It's played out and you don't even care about hearing none of that.
And I wasn't working, I wasn't working late nights.
You were alternate. Like, when, you know, sometimes you'll work late, sometimes you wouldn't.
Yeah, but I wasn't working like the normal late night shift. But it's like, damn, when I got to come home and you still up, you know what I'm saying? I get off a little late, but you still up.
With the kids.
Partying. She partying.
With the kids.
Right. It's like, damn.
And then I'm up with our kids because we can't go to sleep.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
And then who wants to, like, if we were gone, we'll come home to, like, our house smelling just like weed. Like,
yo. Knowing damn
don't nobody in here smoke.
Won't blow it off.
And then the hell she couldn't cook either because we was always hearing the smoke detector.
Right.
I was like, man.
Right.
It was a lot.
It was terrible,
my gosh.
Man.
And then if you weren't hearing sexual noises, you was hearing fighting. If you wasn't hearing fighting, you was hearing kids. If you wasn't hearing kids, you was hearing her and her homegirls. If you wasn't hearing the homegirls, you was hearing them party. If you wasn't hearing party, the cycle repeated. Like, it was just every day. The apartments wasn't doing nothing about it. Wasn't nobody doing nothing.
Doors
slam, cussing.
Footsteps.
I'm telling you, the main thing we heard, if it wasn't her moaning, it was her yelling, "Get the
my life,
and I was like, I don't know, but I'm tired of this bit. I am tired of this bit. Like, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, man.
I was like, good night.
Thank God he got us out of there, man, because, whoo.
I mean,
we was about to lose it.
Them was the type of neighbors you do not ever want.
For real.
And I know, you know, when apartments, like, the walls are usually thin. Yeah. And I know, you know, it's easy to hear stuff. But at the end of the day, the person below us, like, we still had common courtesy to control our daughter, to control our, you know what I'm saying? Like, the crying, of course, we couldn't help that. Like, you know what I'm saying? We did whatever we could to maintain it by making sure, you know, everything was cool with him so he could chill with our son. But at the end of the day, that's a far stretch from a baby crying to screaming and fighting. Everything that they were doing, it was something that they could control. She chose not to. She chose not to control the situation. He chose not to control the situation. And it just got bad. And when they broke up, from the time when she got a new dude, like, we heard everything. It was like our own unwanted personal soap opera. Right.
So yeah, man.
But it was
that's our story time about the neighbor from hell. You know what I'm saying?
Neighbors, from hell.
This is KMV Vision.
Yes, and we would like to thank you guys for watching. You know, and
we got more story time,
more content.
For sure.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share.
Yeah.
All right, we on a road to 1500. 1500. That's our next goal. Help us out, y'all. This is KMV Vision, and we are out. Peace.